Mahalo, my sweet, sweet Brava babies. Are we all lit as fuck? Are we getting juice on this Tuesday? What day of the week is it? Wow, that's an overused pandemic joke. Hello and welcome, my darlings. We're about to be joined by the litness queen. The true litmus test of if you are lit is if you can hang with the only, the one, the fucking only, not Talia Brava. Fucking Wednesday, bitch. Katy Dolle, middle of the day, middle of the week. She knows what day it is. And we're connecting infinitely in 3, 2. Yes! Oh my god, I love the yin yang moments that happen.
Oh my god!
It always happens, it's like we fit together.
Should I go like this?
Well, I love that I didn't accommodate it at all. I never once have accommodated when that's happened. I always expect, what is that about me, Katy? I expect that the other person will accommodate.
No, there's nothing bad about it. You're a queen. And I think that you put off this energy that people want.
Oh my gosh.
People want to accommodate you. And so that's what I'm doing.
Oh my darling.
You put off that energy.
You know what you just did? You just took a coaching downer and you just flipped that around. You literally just flipped around my own self-criticism into the most massive compliment. That's what we do here in the Brava Baby CULTMUNITY. That's what we're here for. So, my darling, we're bringing you back because we had a live coaching session, the first ever, because you're a queen of vulnerability. It's what you fucking stand for.
Yeah.
And in that session, we talked about something very specific, and then you went and fucking succeeded. So, let's just hear the story. And Booze, I just want to make something very clear. Kamala Harris has made it okay to take back the B word. We're making it okay to take back the brag word, okay? We don't need to be bitches. We're going to fucking brag, okay, cuties?
Yes. So I didn't realize I was the first ever Be Brava live coaching, so I'm honored. I just always assume that everything you do, you've been doing for 20 years because you're an expert.
Thank you. I'm working on seeming old, I'm
no, not old, just the wisdom,
Thank you, darling.
So yeah, in that last coaching, I remember you were like, think of something really specific that you want that would improve your life, and then I'm going to help you work through how to get that, right? So I have a podcast called Crime Behind Sunglasses. It's a mental health podcast for cool people. I interview a lot of comedians and self-help experts about their own mental health journeys.
Wait, I need to pause you because you look like fucking Ariana Grande, but your tan is for real.
It's a little bit of the filter and a little bit of me, but I'll take it.
Okay, we're gonna talk later. I need that filter. Okay, but continue. Because you were in the middle of a thought and you were really smart and eloquent, and I had to pause you.
No.
To objectify you.
As anyone who has ever dated me will tell you, compliments will get you very far with me. So
love language. Take note, cuties. Take note of when we're in Brava Baby coaching, you're listening for love languages. So okay, cuties. So you're in the middle of explaining that you have this podcast and you have to define what the win would be.
Sure. So the win for that podcast, Crime Behind Sunglasses, would be that I want to build an empire, right? And you can't build an empire if you don't have capital. So I really wanted to get my first investor or sponsor, some sort of cash flow that's not just coming out of my bank account, right?
Yeah.
So that I can build this bigger world and I can reach more people. And you were so brilliant in the way you led me through okay, well, what's the first step to be able to get one of those investors? You have to make a business plan. And then what's the next step? You have to make this, what is that thing you called it? The circle.
The web. The web.
Yes. Okay.
Where you map out and for those who are just joining, it's you map out not just the people who are already in your world, but people that are aspirational. Hello, Oprah. Hello, Eric Andre. He goes.
Hello.
Yeah. So it's you put them out there and you see how you can get towards or closer or who knows who might help you get there, and you just visualize that and see that. So yes.
So I did that, and it was really interesting because on the call you were like, who can help you build this business plan? And I only thought of one person. And then I didn't even call him. I just thought about it a lot. I didn't do any of the things you told me to do. I just
love this though, because that's the psychic shit. Age of Aquarius. Hello, good morning.
So then I remember he and I have been friends for years. This person who ended up basically like he called me and was like, hey, let's catch up. We caught up for about an hour. He told me about his business.
We'll just pause that. You thought about him and you're so fucking psychically attuned. You're thinking your energy, he calls you. That's okay, let's just highlight that and continue. Yes, love it.
So yeah, basically when you put out that energy, the person can feel that you're thinking about them. They know that you will pop into their head, right? If you're tuned in, because I meditate every day, I put out the good vibes as much as possible, because not only because I need to fix my brain, but whatever. So this person who I thought I was going to have his help to write a proposal or a business plan, at the end of our phone call, which I didn't even bring that up really at all. We just caught up as friends, and I told him how much I was loving my podcast, and I was like asking about his dog. We were about to hang up, and he was like, you know, Katie, what if I gave you X amount of money for your podcast? What would that do? And I said, wait, what? You want to give me money for my I wasn't asking you for money, right? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because what the universe heard was that I needed money and that I thought that he'd be able to help me. And
you were coming with that heart connection. I feel like people stumble so much with building the connections they need because they think it's different than actually just connecting like as we do. It's no fucking different. It's like you're literally going through the world, seeing who you vibe with and connecting on a heart-centered level. That is the work, period.
That is the work, yeah. And the work also, which I've learned through a lot of like actors will have these like acting business courses. It's all about networking, but networking is just a fancy word for like, hey, be a friend to people, like build actual relationships. Networking is not messaging someone every time you have a new project and asking them to donate or asking them to watch it. It's just like having this ongoing conversation where you actually give a shit about the other person.
Yeah.
So
it's so much, and then it becomes like so much simpler too, right? It's like that story is such a beautiful story of simplicity, and it's like you could say, well, it just came to you easily, but it's like actually underneath it, it's like you started, you're doing the work, you're connected to your heart, you're knowing why you're doing it, you're coming with good intentions. It takes a lot to be a good friend, especially in this moment, to sit and actually care about each other. And then here, I love this too of taking back money, because you started, it's like you want to do this work and it takes money, period. And the fact that there's no greater sign of patriarchy than healing work, caring work. You feel weird about getting money for. No,
I don't feel weird about it, but I hear you, because
so it's good that but it's even as a woman embodying yes, I my work has value and it needs to be supported financially. That alone is massively revolutionary just for women.
Wow. You make me feel like I'm like Wonder Woman just for getting my first sponsor on my podcast, but it was really validating. And what's crazy is the amount of money isn't really important. The actual money isn't even the money. Of course, I need it to be able to build the brand and etc. And also just to pay for all of the things that are expensive that go into a podcast, such as all the services and things. There's a lot of things. You don't just show up and record and then run away. There's a lot of things that go into it. Doesn't matter. Point being, it affirmed me so much. What I didn't know, when I wanted the money, I was like, well, I need the money to pay for the costs of this podcast and to make it bigger. But what I didn't know until I got the money was that what I really needed was validation. Yeah, it's a real job. Just to feel there's an external reflection that this is my job. It's not just for fun. It's what I'm here. I'm serious about this shit. Yeah, I'm serious about the shit, but also someone who's not me and not related to me and not fucking me, so they don't have to be nice to me, is saying, hey, I believe in what you're doing and I believe in it so much that I'm willing to give you this money, and this money means I believe in what you do. And so often we think that the responsibility of the vision is wholly ours, when there is that outsider perspective that is often so helpful. Just for someone to actually be able to see more than we can actually see, and that's why it's helpful to be coaching, but it's also helpful to have allies and friends who actually can validate it and see it, or even someone who's
on your web that you get to connect with who's like, you know, doing something that you admire, and they can see the seed of what you're doing. Sometimes people can see it, you know, in a way that really helps us.
Yeah. And actually, one of my favorite quotes ever that I always come back to, you know, Amy Poehler, our hero, our queen. If you probably, I've read her book, Yes, Please.
Yeah, of course. Yes,
one of
please.
my favorite books.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes from her, there's like a longer excerpt, is that great people do things before they are ready. And that has been really
100%.
true.
I love it. Oprah says very similarly, like, you should always be a little bit peeing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just really validating to like remember that like everyone is, if they're on their path, every day feels a little bit scary and overwhelming and like, who the fuck am I? And that's actually that means you're stepping forward because it's new.
Yeah. And so I thought like, oh, like I was avoiding even thinking of a business plan or proposal. I hadn't even thought far enough to think like, oh, when I get a sponsor, how is that money going to be applied? What are they going to get back for it? Right. So when he said, I want to give you this money, what can I get for that? I didn't even have an answer. I was like, Jordan, you're going to make me cry. I'm so excited that you're giving me money. I have no idea.
Yes.
What do you want? Right. And so he was like, okay, well, for this amount of money, I want these many ads and I want these many Insta stories. And I was like, okay, yeah, that works. So
yes.
It's cool because I was ready. I do know these things. I do know how to do this. And also I would say to anybody who's watching this, because you brought up the idea of women being afraid of money or feel like what they're doing doesn't deserve to have as much value because we live in this patriarchal society, is that you gotta take that power back.
Yeah.
You got to take it back. And
and there's also, I want to also highlight for something, there's also the power and the deep exhale of being like, in that conversation, honest about the fact that you didn't know. Like, you had to like think it through with him, and that's okay. Like, we're allowed to not have the answers already. Like, that's actually so much more empowering to accept than to be like always covering and hiding and thinking, I've got to jump off this call and like call my dad and then return to it. You know, like, we've got it. We're exactly what the universe keeps us on a need-to-know basis, and so does like the fucking everything keeps us on a need-to-know basis. We learn as we go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think, and that's what's so beautiful, because when you come from a place of honesty, then you can't lose. Because when I said I don't know, and he said, okay, let's figure it out, he was excited to help me figure that out. He's excited to help me build this. So it's fun for him. He's on this ride with me instead of me putting up a wall and saying, oh, you know what? Let me call you back. You know,
and that's that vulnerability shit that we talked about last time, which is like the core of what you do. It's like creating conversation and connection around through vulnerability, which is like, side note, like so sad and like painful, the only fucking way to do it. All right, darling, let's go forward, because as you know, it wouldn't be a Brava coaching session if we didn't continue this momentum. So I want you to take this win, feeling into the story, because it is a pretty miraculous affirmation of the way the fucking universe works. You did your work, you connected with heart, you didn't even stress about it, you were honest, open, trusting, and this opportunity has just led. And now what feels like the next step, and how can you carry this energy into it?
Yes. So my next step, I would say, is to actually get the next sponsor by outreach instead of by divine miracle.
Yeah, I love that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And even if just to know that you can do both, right? Like, receive, but you can also fucking go and be the hunter and find it and go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think both are fine. And I've been attracting a lot of things. I've attracted more people that are excited about this podcast that I'm doing. And I guess what I was bringing about with the money thing is like, I don't want anyone watching this to think like, oh, she's only doing it for money. It's like, no, I found something that is my higher calling that I want to make into my job, because this is what I want to do all day, every day. I want to help people feel less weird about their mental health. I want to make them laugh. Like, nothing could bring me more joy. So,
and let's be real about that. Like, you couldn't fucking do that well if you're running around like dog walking and babysitting and you know, all the fucking things. Like, if we want to do things well, we have to be able to do them well and give them our whole life.
Sure.
You know?
So the next thing I think would be that, because I do have a few other opportunities. Like, it's weird when you start a podcast, people just start flying in your inbox, I guess, or at least for me, where they're like, hey, you want to do this, you want to do that, whatever. Like, do you want to create content for this other platform? We'll pay you. That's fun. But what I really want is to boost up the main thing that I'm doing, you know?
And so empowering to be able to start to say no to things that in the past would be like, what if, you know, good way to make some money. And now you feel like we're seeing this future Katy where she's got enough investors underneath her. She's got enough capital. She's got this fucking business. She's got the merch. She's got the pod.
I want the merch. Do you know how bad I want the merch?
She's the fucking business lady. The business, like, the CEO is not going to help out the other couple. Like you're not going to go just like take side gigs. Like, you've got your fucking gig. Like, you've got your job.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting.
It is really exciting. And, you know, I've manifested a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm going to be moving in early October.
Where?
You don't know this.
Where?
Oh my God, I didn't tell you this.
My separation anxiety. Where are you going?
No, but what I manifested was I'm not leaving. I'm staying. Okay. I'll be in Los Angeles.
Thank God everyone's leaving. It's a max.
No, I am staying here and I'm thriving here. I will be in a house and with a pool. The back house is going to be a podcast studio.
Sorry, threw a yoga block. What?
You're so funny.
Oh, a pool.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
So anyway, sorry. I know you were trying to get me to talk about my goals. I was just saying that I manifested.
This is part of the story.
So I manifested this fucking gorgeous house that we're going to renovate and make great. And then also in the back, there's a fully finished studio that I can record all my podcasts, my voiceovers, my self-tapes, and I can have other people, once COVID is done, come do their shit there too.
Oh my God, and then you could be like, you know, the OG Marin, where you've got like your
guests
actually there, and then you can have snacks, and then they can banter about the snacks.
Yes. I mean,
God,
how did you know? I'm putting in a sex swing in the podcast studio. Duh.
I love it. And also you have weird therapeutic tools too. Like, you can have a thing where they can go punch a pillow. Like, you could make it like a weird like therapeutic session.
It could be we'll see. I don't know. I mean, what's funny is that because I started this podcast during isolation, I've never been able to touch my guests. I have no idea.
No, I actually forgot that. Like, this is the first time I've actually thought about the fact that if the future or the pod will have people potentially in the same room with each other.
Weird.
So weird. So fucking weird. It's so weird. My darling.
Yeah, so my next thing, it's like you said, I need to get my next sponsor, and I've decided that the next sponsor is going to be like a big company, not just like a person who has their own business. Yes. Every company is run by people, but we want bigger, you know. I want somebody like BetterHelp or
yes.
I'm blanking on names, but things that are for therapy or mental health online, Talkspace, you know, meditation apps, or even like a CBD company. That would be cool. But I want like a little bit of a bigger business to throw their weight.
A partnership that makes sense, and they've got capital, and that's
exciting. It wouldn't just benefit me and the podcast, it would benefit the listeners, because maybe there would be a free sample or a discount code or something where they would get like a week of free therapy, or they would get a free sample of a CBD, something that's going to help them chill out. Because eventually, I mean, when I have my merch, I'm going to have like weighted blankets and candles and all that stuff, but we're not there yet. I want to be able to give them those things.
Yeah. Okay, darling. So knowing that you actually have all the fucking answers, what's the first step? And you know, bridging off the success, I think you learned from it. What's the first step to start this sort of more outreach version of finding this next collaborator?
Sure. So I guess the outreach step, I mean, first I need to make a list, like a realistic list, not like 100, but maybe what would be a good number, a target list of people to reach out to?
Well, I would say I'm going to give the list, because solicited. You just solicited it, so I'm going to give it to you. I would say write the list of like literally the fuck ton list, like write the everything list, and then narrow it down. And then I would also say, like, when you do the narrow down, let that be the part where the heart comes in, where it's like, who do I really feel inspired to write to today? And so maybe you only write to one person that day, but like really think on them, dream on them, feel into why it's a great fit, why you just vibe, and then write to them. Because I'm noticing that in my own life that like I've taken away like the numbers game and brought it back into like Seth Godin wrote a great book on networking. It's amazing. And it's on marketing, Seth Godin's newest book. And he talks about if you only had like six fans or 6 customers, how would you interact with them? It's like you would write them a fucking letter and you'd be like, I really connect heart to heart with them. So that would be my advice to you is write the whole fucking list, connect into your heart, and then maybe you send one email that day, and just see how that shifts it from, and I know you wouldn't do this because you're too lit and wise, but like that versus the opposite extreme of like 100 and it's a mass email and everyone can tell. Like that's not, you would never do, but like really, really genuinely think about like, this is my best friend and I'm writing to them, like connect.
Yes. And I love that. So there are 2 things that popped into my head while you were talking. One was, what if instead of just writing a letter, I made a little video?
I love that.
I'm not even like made a video. It would literally just be like a one take. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, hey,
that's the shit.
I'm Katy Dolle. This is why I like your company. Like they can tell that I only made this video for them.
I love it. And it's not, and I love what you said. You're not editing it. It's not like polished. It's a script. It's actually just like you talking to your friend. Like you're in the meeting. You're talking to them.
Yeah. And like,
I think it's so good.
It's aggressive, but who cares? Let's be aggressive. It's
also, yeah, you know what? It's also showing the work you do, which is like, you fucking talk. Like, that's what you do.
Right. I do write, but that's not what they're paying for.
Yeah,
they're paying
exactly.
To be part of something that's a video and audio experience.
And also, my darling, I'm going to get really real with us because it's such an intimate Instagram live and we're all just like sharing stuff in the heart. I've really been playing with like my vocal quality, like thinking about how when we're talking, we actually are like energetically like resonating or not. So like I've been doing my pitches all with like audio. Like if I want someone on a show or whatever, I stopped writing it because I'm like, it's just more powerful to have my voice here or video. And I've been really playing with like letting that voice like draw them in, like almost think like you're gonna seduce them, like right? And let that be exciting. Like speaking of that feminine power, because like you have that voice, like that's what the money is coming for is the voice and the intellect combined. It's all one, darling. But I feel like utilize your voice, utilize that feminine power.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. And yeah, what a cool idea and very on brand for Talia that she would seduce people into coming into her Instagram lives.
Oh, my darling, it's the only way.
But yeah, when I get a voice memo from someone, it does feel very intimate. It feels like all of a sudden we are romantically involved.
1000%. And that's so brilliant too, because especially you think of these busy people, they've got like a million emails, they all kind of sound the same. And then here it is, someone popping in and bringing in that energy, which is like, these choices are emotional, and as it's a perfect next step to bring in what your experience was. You connected on an emotional level with a friend, and this happened, and now you're going to connect on an emotional level with your new friends that you haven't yet met.
Yeah, no, totally. Because I think the other thing that came into my mind besides the video thing was I remember about 2 years ago, I really wanted a new manager for acting, and I had to do a mailing, like a mass mailing, and that's difficult. And I remember I had a form letter, but I would customize it, based on the person that I was going to. And I also had an EPK, an electronic press kit. So I think that luckily I already have a whole website built. So that's basically an electronic press kit, but there might be some sort of like PDF that is like a 1 page of like, what is this thing about? Why do I care about it?
I think that's great. So you're really marrying the professionalism and the like off the cuff high.
Right, because I want them to know I'm on top of my shit.
What was that?
Because I want them to know I'm on top of my shit.
You are. So it's like a strength, and it's a strength to lean into. Like you are on top of your shit. You're one of the most on top of your shit creative people I've ever met in my entire life. It's like unreal. Like you're so fucking on top of your shit and creative. It's like everyone sign up for Katy's workshop and how to marry both those parts of your brain, because
I don't even have a workshop yet, but I guess I need one.
You do. This is the workshop. This is the workshop right here. We're gonna sell on the internet $100 a pop.
Perfect.
Okay, darling. I want to just acknowledge you for being so bold, so brave, and so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make a TV show called that. As we close, I want you to share one brag for this session, because that's the theme of the day. It's like we're celebrating. One brag and then one commitment to the Brava Baby community.
Okay. So one brag. My brag is that Talia thinks my voice is sexy.
1,000.
And so I'll take that. And then my commitment is that I am going to send one of these emails by this time next week.
Okay, and I will check in with you, because as you know, when you're coaching with Brava, she's gonna fucking nag the shit out of you, be on that ass, like, but I know you're gonna do it. So
but I love that. I need that. That's why you and I connect, because the best way that I work is under pressure and with someone who is bossing me around.
Oh, I love it. I love permission to boss, permission to boss, permission to brag. We are taking back all the B words. My darling, one final thing before we leave, I just want to let everyone know that if you enjoyed this, you should come to my retreat on Friday. Katy, you should come too. It's the Be Brava virtual retreat, and this is what is on harnessing your inner team. So, like, bringing in, like, actually people onto your team, and also, like, who do I need to be fucking inside myself? What do I need to tap into? Like, maybe I need a manager who's, like, knows how to organize my shit. Not talking about me right now. So, darlings, if you can join us, join us. If you work for your friend, you can come for half off. Katy, we'll talk, and, like, maybe we can do another little promo for your people.
I'm into it. No, I think that, yeah, I remember, yeah, I have, by the way, anybody who's watching this, I have a private Facebook support group that's of the same name, Crying Behind Sunglasses. There are almost 400 people in there. It's been an amazing community during quarantine. And so anyone who wants to join, the link's in my bio, and also to listen to my podcast, link in bio, etc. But my point being, for anybody who is already a member of that community or already subscribed to my podcast, like, I definitely want you to experience the magic of Brava, because she has helped me so much. The best cheerleader, the best coach, the best friend, and also, like, look how hot. Look what a hottie.
You know what? This mutual connection, I can't even believe I'm talking to an avatar on my screen right now, because this connection is lit. Okay? We're going there.
It's
and you
lit,
know what?
baby.
I see
It's lit.
on our web right now, because I know that we both have a JVN, like, super crush. I feel this, that, like, this is a very important thing. One is that JVN is, like, totally a Brava baby, and, like, we're going to be hanging out. But, like, when you are looking at that list, and when you're looking at your strategic map, or even just thinking on, like, this is for everybody, like, thinking on the people that you really fucking would just die, like, you would just, like, come on the floor if they, like, called you and were like, I'm into your shit.
Yeah.
Know that if you feel that way about somebody, there's a vibration. There is, like, a connection that is fucking real. So it doesn't matter if they're ahead in their career or like, that shit is not that. What matters is fucking vibrational connection. So when you reach out genuinely, as Katy's doing, with those people that are those expansive people, they actually can feel it too. And I always think about this, like, you know, a dad loves his daughter, a mother loves their son. Like, so even if they're quote unquote further down the line than you, they're still gonna feel that resonance with you, and they're gonna want to be involved with you on this. But
absolutely, absolutely, I love that. Yeah, I think for me, the reason that I have such strong connections and such strong friendships is that, you know, I've always been fiercely independent. I come from kind of a weird family background, so I've had to build my family by choosing my friends and choosing those people. And that's something that I've learned throughout my life. Like, at the end of your life, like, yes, we can achieve all this shit, but what do you have? You have people, you have relationships. When you die, like, sorry to be morbid, but you want, like, what I would want is a bunch of people who say, oh, wow, Katy was such a joyful person. She brought so much into my life, and that kind of thing. So how do you do that? You got to build your community. You can't just hold it all in. You got to make those real connections.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, I feel lit just talking to you. I hope everybody does too. Subscribe to Crying Behind Sunglasses podcast. It's really phenomenal. And I literally wrote to Katie like, "Oh my God, you're the sexiest voice ever." She's wins sexy voice on the internet.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay, darling, that's all she wrote. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is a great session.
I'm so glad you came back.
Yes.
I'll follow up with you in a week. Okay, Brava babies.
Bye.
Love to all the sunnies and all the Brava babies.
Bye-bye.